I'm pleased to confirm that Shelly Sterling has prevailed in her lawsuit against Donald Sterling's mistress, v. Stiviano. And late yesterday, Judge Fruin issued an order that the house that Donald bought with family money shall be returned to the family trust. He gave her $1.8 million. The court also found that another $830,000 of family money used to buy a Bentley, a Ferrari, a Range Rover, lots of gifts and whatever, shall also be returned to the family trust. That's a total of about $2.63 million. Shelly is thrilled about the victory, not only for her family, but for all spouses, particularly women who find themselves in this position where the philandering husband has given away family money to a paramour. This is not just a victory for Shelly Sterling and her family, but it's a victory for all spouses who need to go to court to vindicate their rights. It's a cautionary tale in California. You can have a mistress, but you can't give away the family fortune to her. People wonder, why would a woman of Shelly Sterling's fortune chase after her husband's mistress? For her, it was a matter of principle. The cash, if she ever collects it, is going to be donated to charity. The house goes back to the family trust. But Shelly felt, after all these years, that she had to make a point. And she's made her point. The fact you're here today helps her communicate that point to the larger public. No, she had $1 million in cash in the drawer of her bedroom dresser, she testified. First of all, the easy part is the house, which she used $1.8 million of family money to purchase for her, is titled in Miss Stiviano's name. That title will be transferred by the court to the Sterling Family Trust. The $830,000 may be more elusive. We proved at trial that V. Stiviano has 18 bank accounts in 3 banks, a woman who hasn't worked or had any income other than Donald's largesse since 2010. In fact, V. Stiviano has more bank accounts than Zsa Zsa Gabor has ex-husbands. So we're going to be attaching all of those bank accounts and anything else that we can find to try to collect the money. But she can file an appeal and she can delay the process, but we're very confident that Judge Fruin's careful 12-page opinion would be affirmed on appeal. The courts are slow, justice is slow, but it may take a year or so. We'll see. Now, she can file a notice of appeal, but whether she pursues it or not, I don't know. Well, I think there's 15 days. It becomes final. I think after a thorough trial and taking several weeks to write a very detailed, careful 12-page opinion, I think it'll be a final decision in about 15 days. I think one other thing that we ought to point out, people have said to me, well, Pierce, I mean, can't just a spouse give away family property and money and only have to give back half of it? That's a popular misconception. What this case shows is that the offended spouse, the victim, can go retrieve 100% of the money from the person who got it and restore it to the family. And that's another important principle that's been established in this case. Well, first of all, because you're here and this case has gotten such extraordinary coverage in the media, I think people will understand that what is at stake here if you do this. I don't think it's going to hold marriages together in and of itself, but I think that people who are in this position know that they have some legal remedies. The problem is, do you have the resources to go after your wayward spouse? Probably not. Maybe it'll serve as a deterrent for some people. Remember what happened to Donald Sterling? You know, he got his mistress got whacked for a couple of $1 million. I don't really know. Okay, it's hard to look into the future. But the reason we have cases like this, why Shelly, with her resources and making a principled decision to pursue this, I think more people know about it. Well, the remedy is there in the statute, and the courts have interpreted the statute to allow the victim spouse to pursue the recipient of the money, here the mistress. I'm not aware of a case that has gone to trial with as much attention and, you know, the sex, the greed, the drama, the power, all of the ingredients that gets you all an audience was present in this case. So it's unusual in that regard. I don't know whether it's unprecedented, but it's extraordinarily rare. Same principle that applies here. We'll be in court in a nanosecond to get that money. And I don't know what Donald's going to do. He's 80 years old, and he proved to be very vulnerable to this conniving woman who wormed her way into his life. The fact there are 500 tape recordings that V taped, one of him cost him his team. The other one cost her $2.8 million. We played those tapes. They were trying to hide and conceal the house from Shelly. And we played those in the courtroom. And I hope Donald understands that V's probably still taping them. I think there's two things. One was the house. It sits there. Shelly sees it. It's like a poke in your eye. So her primary objective was to get the house back for the family. And that to me was the most significant thing. And she accomplished that, plus she got some money as well. Okay? I think that's significant. I think the second thing is that V. Stiviano tapes everything. And first of all, it's illegal if you don't have consent. She said they had consent. Donald says, oh, you didn't have my consent. But that's the fact of the matter is that it's the seed of her own destruction. It's somewhat like bad karma or poetic justice. The tapes were important to my partner Caroline Heimdall and Steve Smith in proving our case. Well, every time one of us called her, the first thing we said is, we don't have a decision yet. So when I reached her last night, she was at dinner with a friend, she was almost speechless. She was ecstatic, very happy, thought justice had been done, and is glad that she did it. I think Shelly Sterling, like she did with the Clippers sale, took on the NBA, took on her husband, battled in court, and did a great service to the team, the city, and the fan base. Here, she stood tall again, trying to vindicate a very important principle that you can't give away community property to your paramour. I think in one important sense, this decision may be more gratifying to Shelly Sterling than the sale of the Clippers, because it stands for a very important principle.